You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, it is Saturday, and NFL playoff games will be played today, which also means NFL insiders are starting to drop their splash reports for the day. We've got a big, major update regarding Antonio Pierce and the Raiders head coaching job. If you are a fan of AP, this will probably please you. Now, keep in mind, the Tennessee Titans are interviewing Antonio Pierce this weekend. The Giants, there's been more media reports now that the Giants are monitoring whether or not Antonio Pierce, it looks like he's going to get one of these jobs because they would like to interview him for the Giants defensive coordinator job. Again, that is a promotion, technically speaking, for Antonio Pierce. And I've got a major Jim Harbaugh update, not involving the Raiders. And we've got Maxx Crosby drawing a much, much bigger line in the sand. And I'm going to be honest, I'm a big Maxx Crosby guy. I don't love this. I don't. I think you have to be able to trust your owner, and I think you have to be able to take a step back and go, okay, even if we don't get Antonio Pierce here, how am I supposed to argue with Mike Vrabel, Jim Harbaugh, or even bringing Jon Gruden back? How are you supposed to argue with that? Because you're talking about NFL coaches that have a pedigree already, a resume already in the league. So that, and a successful one, okay? Look, Mike Vrabel was done no favors with the Tennessee Titans. I caution Antonio Pierce on that. But Maxx Crosby is saying he will want out of Las Vegas if Antonio Pierce does not get this job. Schefter dropped this just a little while ago. Interim coach Antonio Pierce has emerged as the leading candidate to become the full-time head coach in Las Vegas with the support of key players per league sources. There will be other options for Raiders owner Mark Davis to consider, but as one source said, quote, I would be blown away if Antonio weren't the pick. Okay. And this is being met with mostly positive response. You can see this. Ross Tucker put up a poll. Raiders fans, do you want Pierce back? I mean, we're talking 5,000 votes nearly. 81%. So he is far and away the leading favorite among Raiders Nation, at least on some of these polls. Now, there are some Raiders fans that are coming on here. There's 1,200 votes, 85%. Should Antonio Pierce be the next coach? There are some fans, though, that are not happy that the players are going down this road, particularly with Maxx Crosby, I noticed. This is what's going on. All right? Raiders defensive end, and this is Josh Alper at PFT that put this up, but Ian Rappaport, it came from him originally. Raiders defensive end Maxx Crosby endorsed hiring interim head coach Antonio Pierce on a full-time basis near the end of the regular season, and he did the same in a social media post on Friday. But that might not be the end of his push. NFL media reports Crosby is expected to explore a trade request if the Raiders opt to hire someone other than Antonio Pierce. That report is part of a larger report about Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh's potential return to the NFL because the Raiders, quote, continue to weigh a pursuit of their former quarterbacks coach. So let's go over to that because it is a pretty big update. Sources say it's believed the Chargers will speak next week with Harbaugh, who has indicated to associates there's a real possibility he could leave the University of Michigan to become the Los Angeles head coach. Wow. Las Vegas Raiders also continue to weigh a potential pursuit of Harbaugh, who led his alma mater to its first national championship in the college football playoff era. However, sources say there remains support among many in the extended Raiders family for interim coach Antonio Pierce, including the locker room. We know Charles Woodson is very much in on this guy. Of course, one of the GOATs on defense, if there ever was one, in NFL history. Sources say negotiations are ongoing with Michigan as the school makes an effort to sign Harbaugh to a contract extension, particularly in light of other recent movement within college football. So, Michigan is still trying to hang on to Harbaugh. I just don't think this will happen. You guys know I'm a Michigan fan, but I think he is so fed up with the NCAA. All right? And I think to a point Nick Saban was too. He says it wasn't the portal or NIL that ran him out. But I think that there's a lot of things going on in college football that some of these coaches are just sick of dealing with, you know? And I think with the suspensions and all that crap this year with Harbaugh, I think he's like, F it. Not only that, but now that he's got the national championship, he completed his mission with Michigan, okay? And as a fan, I'm beyond appreciative of that. I know a lot of Michigan fans are probably clamoring for him to stay. I would love to see him stay, but I'm not clamoring for it. I want to see the man win a Super Bowl. And then he joins that elite Jimmy Johnson, Pete Carroll. I mean, anytime anybody wants to act like Pete Carroll's not elite, I'm like, really? 2 national championships and a Super Bowl ring and another Super Bowl appearance. So I don't want to hear that, right? That doesn't compute. Jimmy Johnson, national title, Miami, Dallas Cowboys, 2 Super Bowl rings. Elite, all right? So I think Harbaugh would love that because he has never gotten past the fact that John's got a ring, and John may get another ring this year. All right? That Ravens team is very good. Very, very interesting. I understand these players with the Raiders want Antonio Pierce very much. I like him. It would be so hard for me to turn away a Jim Harbaugh for anybody, frankly, right? As much as Belichick is the GOAT, maybe, among all coaches, he's at his age. No, I wouldn't be going there. That, and look, if Josh McDaniels hadn't flopped royally, I probably would be banging the Belichick charge a little more there. But there's no way in hell. And I understand there are reports that Mark Davis wants to talk to Belichick. And I will say this, I think Antonio Pierce is getting pissed. I think he's getting pissed that all of this fire is around Harbaugh and Belichick and Gruden and these other names. But he does have to realize, look, yes, you were 5-4 as an interim coach, but you were a linebackers coach versus a guy, you know, Harbaugh's got a 70% winning percentage in the NFL, not to mention an unreal record. We haven't even talked about the fact that really and truly Pete Carroll wants to coach. You know, and he comes across as a much younger, feeling 72-year-old versus Belichick. And he's a player's coach. I think ultimately Pete Carroll may end up surprising some folks. I'm really surprised Pete Carroll has not called L.A. because I think that's a fit. Bring him back after being at USC, that town would actually get excited. They would get excited for Harbaugh too because of Stanford and the Niners and all that. It'd be a home run either way. But you get my point. He wants to coach. Pete wants to coach. Tell me what you think. Players drawing the line. Trade me. Hire Antonio Pierce or trade me. I mean, some people could argue listening to the players, and I know a lot of fans are saying, yeah, the players want him. Are we sure that's the smartest thing always? You know, I mean, think about that. That's listening to the players. There's been a lot of owners that have hired coaches based on the players loving them, and it flopped. Mike Singletary, as a Niners fan, I can tell you, we thought the fan base and the players, it was the same kind of feeling that's around Antonio Pierce. We were so fired up about Singletary. It was like, oh, crap, he did great as an interim coach. The players loved him. I can remember Jed York coming in and being like, he gets the job, and everybody went nuts, blah, 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 and it flopped royally. And Singletary can't even get a coaching job now. Be careful what you wish for sometimes. Singletary and Antonio Pierce are scary similar in that one aspect. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.